Today's Cowboys Report is made possible by Manscaped. St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner, and you want to make sure your shamrock is shaved the way it needs to be. Head over to manscaped.com and use promo code COWBOYS for 20% off and free shipping on our top-of-the-line men's grooming products. The NFL Combine has come and gone. We were, of course, in Indy for it. Always a good time and a long time. Let's do another 7-round Cowboys mock draft before free agency, post-combine, before everything really begins to change. Some picks we'll get to here in a little bit. One thing I have interest in doing this year, and it's up to you guys if we want to do it, should we do, closer to the draft, the fan-led mock draft where you guys get to make the picks? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section. Some notable players off the board in this mock draft. Quinyon Mitchell goes to the Rams. Amarius Mims goes to Georgia. Jackson Powers Johnson Mims out of Georgia goes to Pittsburgh. JPJ goes to Dolphins. 2 corners off the board. Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid McKinstry as well. So I will instead take my second left side starter alongside Tyler Smith, Troy Fautanu, out of Washington. He tested incredibly well at the Combine, better than I thought he was going to, frankly. The arm length box was checked off in a major way. He could play left tackle or left guard for the Cowboys. Figure out which of your T players, Tyler and Troy, are going to be better at left tackle, left guard. Plug him in there, and let's ride. Fautanu's run blocking grades didn't fare very well. I think some of that was schematic-related stuff. I think he'd be a fine run blocker. And if you move on the inside, too, I think that some of those issues might be a bit more mitigated. Good pass protector, though. You're going to lose Tyron Smith, it certainly sounds like. Fautanu he's going to be a first-round pick. I know others around the NFL, including but not limited to Mel Kiper, have him in the top 15, which I think is kind of crazy. I would not be shocked if he went top half of round 1, but one of those or 2 of those linemen and or receivers should fall to you. There's too much talent there across the board to not have somebody slip. Fautanu's a plug-and-play option on the offensive line. He's got a first-round grade for me as well. Others on the board, Chop Robinson, Byron Murphy as defensive pieces. If you want Tyler Guyton instead, that's fine too, but I think Fautanu's more ready to help you immediately. Plus, he's played on the left side. Guyton's been a right tackle predominantly. Graham Barton / Zach Frazier there at center from that perspective. Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver, also there, which the speed is certainly intriguing. But you've got to figure out offensive line needs pretty quickly, or at least have a plan going in, because I think betting there right now, offensive line in round 1. So who do you want the Cowboys to draft in round 1 this year? It's the pinned comment on today's video. If the ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. Into round 2, Jonathan Brooks plus Trey Benson. Off the board early. Brooks to Pittsburgh, which I thought was really weird, but it's a sim. Tyler Newbin's gone. Edrin Cooper is gone. Cooper Beebe is gone. Braylon Trice is gone. I'll go with one of my favorite players this year if the medicals check out. It's the classic Cowboys Blue Star Special. The injured player who the film grade-wise is going to be the top player at his position. They love doing this thing. And if you could promise me healthy Peyton Wilson seasons, he might go round 1 even. The issue is double-digit surgeries are a big-time red flag. I had comped him to Sean Lee going into this whole process, the combine-wise. I'm like, athletic, talented linebacker, not maybe a premier athlete, but medical concerns, always run the ball. He tested off the charts athletically. Like, way better than what I thought he was going to test like. 17 TFLs, 6 sacks. He's always around the football, too. Mike Zimmer would love this guy. He's got a pretty high football IQ as well. If the medicals check out, which is the massive unknown here, this would be a great pick. But it's the medicals, and that's scary. Part of the reason why I took Wilson was I honestly didn't like the way the board fell. Cedric Ray is there, but I don't want him in round 2 necessarily. Jalen Polk and a couple good receivers were there, but I thought about it. But are they really going to go that route? I think we probably want to get a defensive piece. Rook Aroro could be a 3 technique in your defensive scheme. Cedric Van Pran Granger now is your best center, but you're going to take him in the second. Kalen Carson, maybe, but in this scenario, I'm going to pretend that you re-sign Stephon Gilmore because I got to find more needs elsewhere. All right, over now to the third round. Notable picks off the board here. Bucky Irving out of Oregon goes to the Ravens. Chris Abrams-Drains goes to Denver. Braden Fisk, I would have done that one if he had gotten there at pick 82. Kalen Bullock to Seattle. Mason Smith with 2 A's to the Texans. We'll break down my third round pick here, but first, today's show is made possible by Manscaped. This year, don't just chase rainbows, make your own pot of gold and groom your little leprechaun with the leaders in below the kilt care. Get it? Are the Irish puns enough for you guys there? Say goodbye to your clover forest with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and let your confidence shine bright with some luck of the Irish. And join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Meet your new lucky charm for St. Patrick's Day. It's the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Trimmer comes with 2 interchangeable heads. The next-gen skin-safe blade heads, one for the classic trim, and the new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. Get 20% off and free shipping with code COWBOYS over at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with code COWBOYS at manscaped.com. This St. Patrick's Day, make sure your little hairy leprechaun is luckier than ever with Manscaped. All right, speaking of little and talented, that's Mikey Sainristil. That is the pick here in the third round for me out of Michigan. We'll pretend Gilmore got back, or maybe not. Who knows? Sainristil, I think, would be a really fun third-round pick. Normally when I do these sims, he's off the board. I would love him. I feel like he's going to be a Charger in the top of the third round or a Seahawk, whatever. Mike Hilton is who this guy reminds me of. I thought some of your best run defensive moments came this year when Jordan Lewis was playing really well as a nickel corner, as a run stopper. Sainristil plays above his size. He's a fantastic athlete. This is one of my favorite prospects relative to where they'll go in this year's class. So you could put him in there, the nickel corner. It buys you time if Diggs is slow to recover, if Gilmore gets banged up again. I think Sainristil, despite not being the biggest guy, would be a great fit for what Mike Zimmer likes in his nickel. All right, others on the board here. Braylon Allen is there out of Wisconsin. Thought about him, but we've done mocks with Braylon Allen. I want to keep these different a little bit more. Javon Bulward's there out of Georgia. Blake Corum out of Michigan. Dwayne Carter. Thought about Jamari Thrash. But I do think, especially if you lose Gilmore or if you lose Lewis, I think nickel corner is an underrated aspect this team could get a little bit better at. I think Sainristil offers all the things you want to have. So what should be the Cowboys' draft focus this year? O for offense, D for defense. Sound off in the comments. The tricky part here is I have no fourth-round pick, so I can't really find a starter necessarily. I will take Ray Davis out of Kentucky. One of the Cowboys' combine meetings. This fits the mold of what I think they're looking for in their draft pick at running back, depending on what happens in free agency. I think they want a bigger back. And Ray Davis is that to a T with awesome production that got better each time he transferred. From Temple to Vanderbilt, from Vanderbilt to Kentucky. He got better each season. Now, he's 25 on his first contract in his first season. He's old. He might not make it to a second season or a second contract necessarily. But fifth-round pick running back, you're actually probably okay with that. And if you pair a speedy back in free agency, Pollard or whoever, I think Davis is a nice compliment. Over to round 6, as we are just taking flyers on athletic upside here. How about Gabe Hall out of Baylor? Long and tall in all the proper ways you would like. Offers a different body type than what a lot of the current defensive linemen have. We're talking about somebody who did not have the best production this past season. And that's probably how and why you're going to be able to potentially get him, in this kind of late day 3 range for the Cowboys. But to put the measurables in perspective here, 6'6", 291, 34.5-inch arms. That's unusual size and length, and would give the Cowboys a kind of a DE-DT hybrid that I think would fit pretty well with what Mike Zimmer likes. Plus, it's day 3. We're taking gambles on athletic upside. Anyway, fantastic athlete. We'll have more Cowboys draft coverage for you right here on the channel. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button for me right now. Round 7, again, we're not finding starters. I'll take a flyer here on Matt Lee out of Miami of Florida, who maybe could end up being a sleeper at a position of need, which is center for Dallas, but I can't fill all of my starting needs with only 3 top 100 picks this year. The production's pretty solid, though. 0 sacks, 1 hit, 3 hurries, good run blocking, and he tested very well athletically, too. So when you're sitting there kind of in that day 3 range, I think taking my mindset is lineman in the top 100, lineman outside of it always makes sense. Finally, the final 7th round pick, Jalen Simpson out of Auburn. A fun chess piece on defense. I think he could play nickel corner, which he has done some. I think he could potentially play safety. And you know what? I'm just crazy enough. I might try him on the outside, too. I think that could be something a team pursues. The size and the production here, the measurables, or the stats as well. Okay on the INT pass breakups, decent tackle numbers. 5'11", 5'8", 179, so not that big, but he's got really great arm length. 32-plus inch arms is crazy long for someone of that height, and he ran a 4.45. Like, all of those things are important to do. And I think Simpson, day 3, makes a ton of sense. So the mock draft recap here. Troy Fautanu out of Washington, Peyton Wilson out of NC State, Mikey Sainristil out of Michigan. So I think I got 3 starters there, even though you'd like to find a way to get like 5 new starters in the draft. It's not. Someone's got to get on the short end of the stick at a position, and we'll keep mixing up to explore different avenues to do that. Ray Davis out of Kentucky, Gabe Hall out of Baylor, Matt Lee out of Miami, the center, Jalen Simpson out of Auburn. So we'll do a different grading style for this one. Grade the Cowboys mock draft. P for pass, F for fail. Sound off in the comments section.